everybody. It's Bucky again with Top Dollar Home Offer. We buy houses, Tulsa, and guess what we do? We help homeowners that say, I need to sell my house fast. If you're in a situation or you have a friend or a family member that's in a situation where they have a house they're setting on, they don't know what to do, whether it's about to be foreclosed on, maybe they're moving out of state, they feel stuck and they don't want to pay thousands of dollars in real estate commissions. They are just looking for a way to maybe sell their property, or they're just don't want to fix it up, too many repairs. Then give us a call, 918-212-5442. We buy houses, Tulsa, and we'd love to speak with you about buying yours. That's what we do. We are reading our real estate investing book. It's available for purchase on our website, or you can listen to the detailed audio version. And on the audio version, we always add in, stories or things that affect us as we're walking through the book that we didn't typically include in the book. So if you want to, and you like YouTube as much as us, then you can listen to each part here. We broke them up in about 10-minute sections, giving you the ability to go into whichever part of investing questions that you may have first. So we break it down in this series. Today, we are in the continuation talk about real estate loans. We talked about the ARMs. We talked about how those are variable interest rates. And the next one that we're going to discuss here is the interest-only loans. This is another loan that is good for real estate investors in the interest-only mortgage loan. Investors can use this loan when they're having a hard time with generating positive cash flow. This usually happens when the value of the property has increased. Some investors normally get interest-only loans if they don't want negative cash flow, if they want to use the cash for something else, or if they're thinking about getting into the property flipping for a future date. When an investor has this kind of mortgage loan, they can hold off on principal payments for a certain period of time. It is usually no more than 10 years, but could be less than that. The investor is only paying interest and nothing else during this period. In order to get rid of the principal in the future, the loan is amortized again after that period of only paying the interest after the interest has ended. The investor ends up paying higher mortgage loan payments. And there are several ways that an investor can handle the situation: sell the property, stick with a higher interest payment, or refinance. So let me ask you, why would you do an interest-only loan? Most often cases, we've done loans, and we'll include this one in here. This is kind of a bonus. The interest-only loans are great when you have a short-term hold on the property, meaning that you're not planning to hold this thing for long term. If you're trying to put a renter in here and again rent it for 10 to 15, 20 years, this is probably not the loan that you want to do. Unless you plan to refinance this in a year and it's just kind of your stack of properties, or if you're in a situation where this may be the only loan that you can get and leverage that to lock up that property at this time. So there's several different ways and reasons why investors do this, but just keep in mind it's situational, right? So understand anytime you buy property, what's your long-term, short-term goal? What's your out? How can you make money when you get out of this property next year, 2 years from now? What is your out? And that helps you back in and understanding your financing and which financing tool is the best for you. There's even hard money lenders. This is a bonus we're going to put in here for you. What a hard money lender is, it's a high interest rate, very short term, meaning that they're going to give you a higher interest rate You're not going to have to go through the traditional banks. They have cash. They're a hard money lender, meaning that you go over to this guy's office. He says, yes, I'll give you $100,000 for the house, but it's got to meet these criteria. I'll go through, I'll look at the house myself, and then I'll give you the loan. The loan will have an origination fee. It'll have an early payoff fee. It'll have all these different things structured in there, but it allows you to secure and buy that property. So you just have to be aware of anytime you're trying to buy a property, however you're going to secure the financing or pay cash or whatever your goal is that it meets and matches the criteria of your buying capacity. Like, how am I going to be able to buy this thing, right? And that will tell you whether or not this is a good deal for you, right? So this is the bonus one. So we talked about interest only loans. You can also get a hard money lender loan. The balloon mortgage, having a balloon mortgage on a property is one of the most popular kinds of mortgage loans. But real estate investors have used them. The mortgage increases using a longer time than the actual mortgage term. The investor ends up with a smaller payment. So oftentimes we'll do this if we're like leasing to own or owner financing a property back. We can do a balloon, like giving them time to refinance and get a traditional loan. So you can get lower payments for a certain period of time and the full loan amounts due, right? You can write it up however. Sometimes when we do owner finance deals, we will do a balloon in 5 years or 3 years or 7 years or whatever it may be. So we can get the payments to cash flow or help the people buy the property so they can later refinance through their bank and pull equity out of the house and be able to purchase it. However, at the term's end, there will be a balance that the investor has to pay in full or refinance the loan. If the investor can't pay the lump sum in full or get refinancing, they'll end up selling the property. That was what I was telling you earlier about, when I was working with community banks. They offered great loan. It was easy to get a loan, but their loans were 3-year based upon a 20-year note. And the problem with that is they had a balloon every 3 years. So you never paid any equity, right? All you were doing is paying interest. So if you had a home loan with them for 10 years, you maybe paid down a couple $1,000s in equity, right? Depending on the property. In principle, I mean. So keep that in mind. Know what your goals are, right? Even though there is an advantage for smaller mortgage payments in the beginning, at the end, the investor still has to come up and can come out as a loser if they can't pay off the entire balance or refinance, right? If you're dealing with a community bank, they're going to keep letting you refinance as long as the property's worth what it's worth, right? If it gets upside down, then they'll say no, or make you bring money to closing. Plus, the refinancing, the investor will have to deal with an interest rate increase, right? Because they can reset your interest rate every 3 years. So if you, for some reason, your credit score goes down or something at that time frame, or you get too leveraged, then the bank can increase your interest rate. So your payments could change. That's just more money coming out of your pocket that isn't necessarily necessary, right? There's so many different types of loans out there. You can, do home HELOCs and use that money. So just keep in mind, make sure when you're looking at the numbers on a real estate deal and you're buying an investment property that you have the financing understood in the worst case scenario. So if you're doing an ARM, make sure that you can still cash flow if the interest rate goes from 4.5%, 5% to 7%. Or, if your loan balloons in 3 years, or you're doing an interest only loan, you have a definite out in the 2 years when that is going to come due, right? Or if you need to refinance. So be aware of your finances, put them in the right buckets, understand that. So when we buy houses, Tulsa, we have a lot of different buckets we throw properties in. That's why Sometimes we're able to close faster than the others, and sometimes we can't. There's all kinds of different situations, but typically we can close on a property within 7 days. If you have questions or if you have a house that you want to sell fast, give us a call, 918-212-5442. We buy houses Tulsa. We'd love to speak with you about yours. Have a great day.